Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are when you see this video. Thank you for joining me, Dorothea, on Through an Orthodox Christian Lens. It's December 9th, 2025. I have a few stories for you coming from the Holy Land and Middle East that I think is important to share, having to do with our faith, the Orthodox faith, and other things going on there. So let's start with the first story. King of Jordan calls for protecting Christians in the Middle East. Well, that's good. Look, there's Patriarch John X and Patriarch Theophilus. Okay. During a meeting with Orthodox patriarchs, King Abdullah II emphasized the need to preserve the Christian presence and safeguard holy sites amid escalating tensions in the region. Well, good. Somebody needs to protect them. Both the Christians and the holy sites. On December 8th, King Abdullah II of Jordan received the primates of the Orthodox churches, Patriarch John X of Antioch and Patriarch Theophilus III of Jerusalem, and Patriarch Porphyry of Serbia, and spoke of the vital importance of maintaining Christian life, stability, and peace in the Middle East. According to the Orthodox news agency, the king highlighted the moral and historical responsibility Jordan carries in this mission. That's good to know. Together with the patriarchs, he addressed the urgent need to halt violations against both Islamic and Christian holy sites in Jerusalem and to preserve the existing historical and legal status quo, which remains a cornerstone of fragile regional balance. The three primates were in Amman to participate in a conference on interreligious dialogue in the Balkans. During their audience with the monarch, they heard a renewed affirmation of Jordan's steadfast commitment to defending Christian sanctuaries and supporting the stability of the Holy Land and the wider region. King Abdullah II emphasized that Jordan will continue to fulfill its religious and historical mission under the Hashemite custodianship, safeguarding the sacred heritage entrusted to it. Discussion also turned to broader regional tensions. The king reiterated the essential importance of honoring the ceasefire agreement in Gaza, ensuring the flow of humanitarian aid, and preventing further escalation on the West Bank. During his visit, Patriarch Porphyry, however you say that, of Serbia, also venerated the site of the Lord's baptism on the Jordan River. King Abdullah II gifted the Serbian church a parcel of land adjacent to the holy site, a gesture the patriarch received with profound gratitude, noting its lasting significance for the Serbian church. Well, that's awesome. That really is great. So glad to see that. Just wonderful. So, I take it this is the Serbian one, and who's he? I'm not sure. Let's see. Doesn't say. Anyway, really nice to hear this. I hope that he's able to do that. I know he isn't that strong of a leader, considering, he's under the thumb of the United States, the King of Jordan, but let's just hope they can help with that issue. The next story is Christmas tree installed in Bethlehem Square after a 2-year break. Look how big that tree is. Look how big that tree is. It's awesome. They're working on it, setting it up. It's near the Church of the Nativity, which, of course, is quite fitting. Okay, so after a 2-year break, the Christmas tree was lit again in the city of Christ's Nativity in Palestinian Bethlehem, the town of the Nativity of Christ. For the first time in 2 years, on December 6, 2026, the Christmas tree was lit in Manger Square. This is reported by American Magazine. The resource notes that the decision to bring back Christmas celebrations has become especially significant against the backdrop of a severe humanitarian and economic situation. Despite the instability, the religious communities of the Holy Land maintain the tradition. Bethlehem will once again host 3 Christmas celebrations: December 25th for Western churches, January 7th for Orthodox, and January 18th for Armenian Christians. Oh, I didn't even realize they had it that late. Masses will be held at the Church of the Nativity. The streets of the city are being decorated. Scouts are preparing parades, and choirs are rehearsing Christmas carols. Oh, I hope that works out okay. Quote, the ceasefire in Gaza brokered by the United States in October has not halted Israeli attacks on Palestinians, nor has it eased the suffering in Gaza or the West Bank. Yet Bethlehem is choosing to celebrate, the publication comments. End quote. This decision prompted other Palestinian cities to join the celebration. Streets and churches are being decorated from Beit Jala and Ramallah to Nablus and Zababdeh. Bethlehem Mayor Kanawati said that Christmas in Palestine is, quote, a deeply spiritual act, a time for peace, solidarity, and compassion for those who continue to suffer, end quote, and that the lighting of the tree represents, quote, a strong reaffirmation of community, unity, and faith, end quote. Former Mayor Anton Salman adds that this year's festivities express Palestinians' determination to maintain hope, quote, amid ongoing adversity, end quote. American Magazine notes that the city and region continue to suffer from settler violence, which threatens the existence of local Christian communities. Among them are nearby towns including Beit Sahor, the site of the Shepherd's Field, where, according to the Gospel of Luke, angels appeared to shepherds to announce the birth of the Christ child. The city's mayor, Elias Isid, recently sent an urgent letter to world and church leaders, warning of an easy plan to build a new settlement on the city's lands, an, quote, act of eviction, end quote, he writes, which will intimidate, quote unquote, the peaceful, predominantly Christian community. Archbishop Attila Hanna of the Greek Orthodox Church in Jerusalem reminded that the world should not forget the suffering of the inhabitants of the Holy Land, but despite everything, quote unquote, hope endures. There's a couple pictures here. So lovely. That's so nice. That's it. There's a manger with faces. Sorry. If you saw my faceless nativity scene video, you'll get what I was talking about there. Anyway, very nice. So nice to see this. I just hope, that there's no violence going on during this celebration. I know it seems to happen every Christmas that the Izzies do something. It's really heinous that they do that on Christmas. I remember a few years ago they bombed Damascus right on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve. Can't remember. It was terrible. All right, let's see. Last one. This is back on December 3rd. Patriarch John of Antioch, Pope Leo, and Druze leader plant olive tree as symbol of peace in Beirut. Now see, this is where you can work together with different faiths, or even different Christian traditions and different faiths. This is acceptable to we Orthodox. That's how we, or us Orthodox, that's how we look at it. Pope Leo the 14th met with Christian and other religious leaders from Lebanon and Syria on the second day of his visit to Beirut, participating in an interfaith gathering at Martyrs Square in the Lebanese capital. His beatitude, Patriarch John X of the 10th of Antioch welcomed the pontiff during the event, greeting him in Arabic and describing the visit as a joyous occasion. In his remarks, I wonder why, I guess the Pope understands Arabic. In his remarks, the Patriarch welcomed the Pope in the Church of Antioch, where the disciples were first called Christians, the Church of Antioch, in all its diverse communities, the first church founded by the Apostle Peter. The patriarch characterized Lebanon as a country that, quote, that breathes with both its Muslim and Christian lungs, end quote, and emphasized the shared existence of its communities, saying its components, quote, do not merely coexist but complement, resemble, and ultimately meld into one another to shape Lebanon, end quote. In a symbolic gesture, Pope Leo XIV, Patriarch John, and Sheikh Sami Abil Mona, the spiritual head of Lebanon's Druze community, together planted an olive tree as a symbol of peace. How nice. The interfaith meeting aimed, quote, to send a joint message of peace, end quote, from religious leaders whose communities live in the wider Middle East region during a period of ongoing conflicts and insecurity. During his address, the Pope called Pope Benedict the 16th 2012 apostolic exhortation, quote, Ecclesia in Medio Oriente, end quote, which was signed in Beirut and expressed the Church's desire for dialogue with representatives of other religions. He noted that, quote, the numerous minarets and church bell towers of the country stand side by side, end quote, and bear witness to the Lebanese people's faith and devotion. Pope Leo emphasized that despite the region's complex conflicts, the Lebanese people offer a reminder that prejudice does not have the final word and demonstrate that peace is possible. He stated that hope and encouragement can be found, quote, when we focus on what unites us, our common humanity, and our faith in a God of love and mercy, end quote. Pope Leo described the olive trees of Lebanon as, quote, a tireless symbol of reconciliation and peace, end quote. The meeting in Beirut came shortly after the Pope's visit to Turkey, where he joined Patriarch Bartholomew of Constantinople in celebrating the 1700th anniversary of the Council of Nicaea. Yes, and we all know about the signing and all that. So, anyway, very nice stories. I wanted to share something kind of uplifting for a change with all bad stuff that seems to be happening. So I hope you all got something out of that. It really looked neat there in Bethlehem. I mean, I don't feel like it's safe to go. I just don't feel like it's safe to go to the Holy Land. But it sure looked like the place you would want to be wandering around that area, the Church of Nativity and all the stone buildings. You'd want to be there for Christmas. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for following my channel.